Hi, it's Megan. I have been all over the new Viseart eyeshadow palettes that have come out in spring 2016. So this is my third review, and this is for the Viseart Cashmere Theory palette. And I guess at this point, once this one's uploaded, I should probably put a link to the other two, the Ribbons Boheme and the Minx palette reviews that I did, so that they're all kind of attached. So this is what it looks like. And this one was sent to me by musebeauty.pro, who has these first and also tends to be more likely to have them in stock. Sephora also carries them, and a few other online retailers. So these are $45 for 0.42 ounces. So it's in a little sleeve like this. You open it, and then it comes out like this. And you can actually, there's a little plastic coating which I've kept covering, and then you can make this into a little easel which stands up, which I'm not going to do for the camera, but it does stand up if you want to. And that's what it looks like. So the Minx palette, I did a review for that one earlier, and that was a warm toned palette overall. This one is a cool tone palette overall, and it's obviously on my eyes, and I mixed all 6 shades onto my eyes, which I think is really pretty, but honestly, as I've been playing with it more and more, I kind of think that's too many eyeshadows. There are so many different looks that you can do with this palette with just a few of the shades. There's no point to increase your complexity level to get to that point. And to start out this review, I'm going to say that I loved the Minx palette. I mean, I really adored it, and with my eye color, it was perfect. And so I don't want to say that I like that one less than this one, but I almost do. Even though that one totally made my eyes pop and was like one of the best palettes ever for my eye color, I like this one because it's so subdued, it's so classic, it's so gorgeous but still neutral and not dull and dead, and it's so like everyday, can wear it in any situation, can wear to work, so consistent. So I'm weighing back and forth which one I like better between Minx and Cashmere. So Minx is more drama, still kind of neutral and classic, and still, as this one is, more of a complete look. So for those who haven't bought a Viseart palette before, a lot of times, since it's a line geared towards pro, you get this amazing quality shadow, but it's not like the palette is a coherent look. Like idiot proof is my term, and the Theory palettes are a coherent look, and they're idiot proof, and there are a couple different looks you can do that are super simple. So this one is one of those classic, works for everyone, for every day, for any look, for any lip color, kind of cool toned, neutral, and so I really appreciate that. So it's cardboard packaging, and so this has 6 shades versus the 12 pan, and some people online have done price comparisons, and these are a little bit more expensive than the 12 pan, but they're also idiot proof and that they're a complete look, and there are 3 of them, and I only have 2 of the 3. I might end up getting the 3rd, we'll see. But what's great about it is that it has the same Viseart quality. And so I've done a couple of Viseart palettes, and the first thing that I said when I first tried these eyeshadows is that this is going to sound silly, but they go where you put them, and I never thought about that before. But a lot of eyeshadows, you kind of have to build them up, you have to work with them, you have to use the right brush to get, or you have to use the right primer to get them to really adhere to your lid where you want them. And that was kind of the first thing that I noticed about Viseart eyeshadows, is that I would put them there and they would be there. And so I kind of had to rethink the application, because I was used to building up and then blending, and it was so complex, and this was so simple. So that was the first thing. The next thing is that they're incredibly finely milled, and they are subtly, richly pigmented, if that makes sense. So a lot of the shades, some of the palettes are really bright, but a lot of the nudes, and this is obviously one of the more neutral mix of matte and shimmers, but they're intensely pigmented anyway, even though they're more muted, natural, nude-ish sort of colors. And so that's a great thing about them. And they wear really well. I don't need an eyeshadow primer with them, which I do with most eyeshadows. In this day and age, it's almost like, why would you not wear an eyeshadow primer? But with the Viseart, it's one of the few brands where I really don't. And then the next thing is they are idiot proof, which is a good thing. So this is it. And so I'm going to show you this quick little brush. I don't want to forget. I took the darker brown and I kind of put it into, mixed it into my eyebrows, my eyelashes, called tight lining, right? And then I also have a brown eye pencil from Lancome, the Kohl, in the brown. Comes in 2 or 3 colors depending on whether they're available or not. And I use this very fine little liner brush just to get the tiniest little bit of eyeliner because I wanted a more natural look. So the first shade, this right here. So this one is a light beige and it has, it's probably one of the warmer shades. It has a semi-matte finish. They don't have names on these, so it's just number 1, number 2, number 3. This is what it looks like. It's slightly creamy, and if you see how richly, beautifully pigmented it is for such a creamy shade, and I don't know what struck me when I was putting my look together today, but I really used this one under the eyebrows, and today I didn't. I used it on the inner corner of my eye and right in here as well. I don't know, just what I wanted to do today. Number 2, this one right here. These are super creamy, they're super pigmented, so all I'm doing is swiping once, and you can see how beautifully, that's it, just one swipe in the pan, and one swipe with my finger on my wrist. I'm not one for faking swatches, because I do this because I want to. I'm not getting paid really by the companies to do it. I mean, I got this particular palette for free, but most of the time I don't, so I'm gonna be honest with what I think. So that's how richly pigmented it shows up. And this I said was a medium dark camel brown, and it's got warmer undertones and semi-matte as well. These are mattes, but they still have just like a teeny bit of sheen to them. So they're not like those dead mattes that you see. And so these are, the 3 that are mattes are a little bit warmer than the ones on the other side that are a little bit cooler. And when I'm saying they're just slightly warm, they're just slightly warm. Overall, this palette is slightly cool on. The last one of the mattes, it is a dark taupe brown. And this is where it gets a little cooler. It almost seems to have a little touch of gray. And again, it's a semi-matte. And this one blends out really beautifully. So I use this as a liner. I used it in the outer corner of the eye, and then to blend it out, I put it in the outer crease and then really blend it so that it wasn't too dark. Now you can really build this one up and create just a beautiful smoky eye look with it. So there it is again. The 3 mattes, which are really slight sheen to the mattes. So slightly warm, and again, a little less slightly warm, as it does tend to seem to have a little bit of a gray. It's like that cool chocolate gray kind of a look. And they blend beautifully. So the other side, number 4, which is the only way you can do it. Right, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This right here. And again, just one swipe with my finger in the pan and one swipe on my wrist. That's all I'm doing, I swear. But when I look at them, I'm like, wow, that's so pigmented. So this one I said is a light beige, and it's got a little bit more of a metallic. And this is where and it has a little bit of peachiness to it. This is where I looked at it just to double check. I don't like metallic shadows. So this is like not quite at metallic, and this is kind of my distinction. Some of the metallic ones are so metallic they become too cool toned for me, and they look artificial on my lids. This one has an almost metallic, which means it's not harsh, it's not unflattering. Because it's got that slight peachiness, it's a little bit warmer, but it's still, in my opinion, a cooler toned, slightly cooler toned shadow. And so what I've done with the medium taupe, I put that into the eyeliner. So I did the lighter matte, then the medium matte, and the darker matte. And with this one, since I have the lighter matte in here, I put this in the middle part of my lid. And I actually, oh no, I didn't put this in the middle part of my lid. I'm moving too fast. I put this in the upper, right under my eyebrows. I'm sorry. I'm moving so fast. And normally I don't do that. Normally, like I said, I will mix a little bit of this shimmer with a little bit of the matte to get kind of a more complex look on my eye. But I like each of these so much. I don't really like wearing all 6 at once. I prefer to wear them all individually, and they can all be worn basically on the lid except for the darkest shade individually too. So this is number 5. Like I said, since we don't have names, we've got to do numbers, and that is right here. It's not going to show up on my wrist so well. Let's do the finger thing because of how close it is to my natural skin color, and there's really not a lot we can do about that. That's why I do the outdoor swatches. So this is a medium taupe brown, and it has, again, this not quite metallic sheen. None of these have glitter in them, and I see a slight gold undertone. So when I say this is a slightly cooler toned eye look, we're really talking neutral, veering slightly cool, veering slightly warm, depending on the shade. And then the last one, number 6, is a cool taupe brown. And, oh, it's such a great color. This one's probably the most frosty. If you see it right there. And it's got almost a grayish pink tint to it, if you see right there. And this one I put in the outer part of my eye. And it's just such an interesting, it's definitely darker than the shade next to it. So there we have the 6. And what I like about this palette, number 1, I like how finely milled and high quality the shadows are. I like the fact that I can wear these without primer and they last a good 8+ hours on me. Number 2, I like how coherently together this palette is. There are just so many idiot-proof, natural, everyday, gorgeous looks that you can make with this palette. And number 3, I really like the shades. Like, I think it makes my blue eyes pop. And I think that the shades are neutral enough that they're going to work on just about everyone, which is a really good thing. Then I just love kind of the size, the way it all works, just the whole kind of aesthetics of the palette, which, you know, high quality, beautiful, great colors. And that's what I've learned as I've done more and more of these videos, is that a lot of brands can make colors that look good in the pan, but it's the special brands that put something on the eye and all of a sudden the person looks pretty, instead of like you look at the eyeshadow and say, wow, isn't that a pretty eyeshadow color? And that's what I feel about these Theory palettes. I've only tried 2 of the 3 so far, but I feel like they just work beautifully with people. And even pictures I've seen with other people putting them on online, it's like, wow, that is just so pretty on that person, as opposed to, wow, that's such a pretty eyeshadow. Would it work for me? So I'm impressed with these. And like I said, I'm still back and forth between whether I like Cashmere or Minx better. Cashmere is just an everyday versus the Minx, which is everyday but a little bit more dramatic. So that's all I have to say about this. If you have these, or if you have the third of the Theory palettes that you don't have, I would love to hear what you have to say about any of them. And thanks for watching.